Hey everybody, I did warn you the timing of this videos were not going to be instant this month. I got a lot going on, but we will get to them. And especially after watching that one, I think it was a pretty well played match up to the time, even when it was 0-0 before the goals happened. And then of course, a quite exciting finish that gave us both something to talk about and something to celebrate. So let's do both as we hit those 5 headlines from Barcelona's 2-1 victory over Real Betis. One is dramatic finish. Jordi Alba's 94th minute winner should be the main headline here for a number of reasons. First and foremost, it's because it helped Barcelona qualify for the Champions League and mission accomplished for the season goal. And yeah, there were other goals along the way, but it became the main theme. The main thing that Xavi took over this job to do was to get this team to qualify for the Champions League, and now the job is done thanks to the boot of Jordi Alba. Regardless of when or how, that was the pressure on the team heading into today's match to finish top 4. A loss would have very much complicated the next 2 weeks of the season, but instead, Barca qualified and now they can breathe. And hopefully, playing relaxed will lead to more moments like Alba's goal. There is something about Real Betis, at least in the 21st century, where even with that crowd in full voice, even with the fouls and the frustration of the game, it never felt like the Catalans didn't have some kind of a grasp, some kind of a handle on that contest. The 58% possession was nice, but you always felt that it was the simple class that Barcelona had today that was going to see them through. And Jordi Alba's goal was full of class. There's going to continue to be the arguments about his future, about his mentality in big matches, and some major referendum on his whole career. But speaking strictly about that match and that goal, he was fantastic against Real Betis. 4 of 5 on his duels, 4 key passes. And you know what? Forget the rest of the stats. He scored a golazo in the final minute in Seville to take his team to the Champions League. I got nothing but love for Jordi Alba today. I want to thank OneFootball for sponsoring this video. OneFootball is the app I use to keep myself up to date on all things FC Barcelona, everything I need to know, as well as check on every other team that Alemany could be scouting right now for a big summer transfer window. With a custom-tailored homepage, stay up to date with breaking news, live scores, and even transfer news. While on the go, you can check with matches in live time and watch videos afterwards. Use the link in the description for a free download of OneFootball on Android or iOS to put all of your football in one place. And you'll help out a tiny Barca channel too. Thanks to OneFootball again for sponsoring this video. Now back to the Barca business. 2 is Ansu Fati, of course. Let's keep those good vibes going with Ansu Fati, who at this moment is healthy. At this moment is back on the score sheet, and at this moment is still pretty good now, isn't he? Yeah, it was a deflected goal, but Ansu Fati made that Real Betis backline go from having a pretty good handle of the situation in their box, with or without the ball, to code red with his movement. Memphis, Ferran, and Aubameyang, we've talked about their skills, but nobody finds space inside the penalty box quite like Ansu. And you could argue that his goal was a big reason why Alves found the space over the top to Alba for the winner, even though Ansu and De Jong both saw the ball coming a mile away as well. But on the point of Ansu, I do look forward to the day when I actually get to critique him as a player from game to game, when we're talking about what kind of consistency he has, when we're able to look at dry spells in scoring, but also see him go on a clip of games where he just can't stop scoring and he gets in great form. It's kind of like his good friend in Gavi, who, unlike Ansu Fati, who started in Sevilla's youth academy, it was the hometown boy in Gavi who just had a solid match. I don't have any major headline about him. I don't think he deserves one. But the fact that he played his first team match against his boyhood club, I think there might have been a little nerves for him. Ansu, though, I don't know if this kid ever has any nerves. There's never ever a moment, or he just always seems, at least when he's on the field, to be completely unafraid. And when he's on the field, things happen. That was the case when he arrived. It was the case before his long-term injury. It was the case when he first returned. And it's still the case now. I do have to wonder if he'll even start for the rest of the season and what his minutes will look like. And I know Xavi's going to be conservative, but we also know that Ansu can have an impact on any game for any amount of time that he plays in for the remainder of the season. 3 is ARAUJO at the back, or should I say, ARAUJO was that back line. Dani Alves was good in some parts, and the some parts are when Barcelona had the ball, when Barcelona were looking to control and dictate the tempo and rhythm of the game, and Alves was really important to that. With the exception of about 15 total minutes of game time, I always felt like Barca were on the front foot and the aggressor. And Alves plus Eric Garcia were a big part of that. Their progressive passing and good decision making always helps with that, especially on a day like today where Real Betis never felt like they were pressing or putting Barca under too much pressure. They were sitting in a medium block. that they were giving Barcelona room to exploit, at least through the middle and along that back line. And as long as that back line made good decisions, Barcelona could dictate the game. Now, as we know, with Garcia progressing with his dribbling and not the speediest player, he got caught upfield a few times. And Alves, well, he had a birthday on Friday, turned 39, and defensively, he looked 39. But with the exception of the goal where he wasn't really a part of the play, ARAUJO was perfect at the back. That's why that ended 2-1. Counterattacks, well, maybe not so much set pieces, but counterattacks, build-up, whatever Real Betis had cooking, stepping offside with that trap, ARAUJO was everything that Barcelona needed him to be to command that back line on the defensive side of things and really, really protect what was, I know it was a late winner from Alba, but the reason that game was 0-0 for so much of it was because of the Uruguayan. 4 is good from De Jong, great from Busquets. I'm going to keep being positive here, and I start with Frenkie de Jong, who, while he did struggle to begin this match, it was slow going, by the second half, when Barcelona found the match, so did he. He was defending sideline to sideline, he was getting forward on runs, he was combining much better with Sergio Busquets, and I think it was a really good bounce-back performance from Frenkie de Jong, where he may be seeing his name plastered all over the papers. I mean, he does usually, but to see his name plastered all over the papers as far as transfer rumors go this week. He was working really hard, pushing forward in the attack, pressing as a high interior, more than Gavi at times, as I said, defending. And I do say that de Jong was good because he did struggle out of the gate, so it wasn't a complete showing from him. For Busquets, though, that was a complete showing, and I really have to give attention to the wily veteran. He goes about his business, and there are times when he is a weak link for Barcelona, but as has been the theme, Barcelona had enough technical skill and enough just quality good decision makers that Busquets was able to thrive today against Real Betis. He was vintage Busquets today. Once he got that back heel off, as he kept the ball in near the sideline, you knew Betis were in for a long day. Busquets was pretty surgical throughout the match, making 6 tackles, 3 interceptions, and believe it or not, he was never dribbled past. I know people will want me to be negative and talk more about the appearance of Puig, or what we didn't see from Memphis, Ferran Torres, or Dembele, or even Aubameyang, but I'm sticking with the positivity, and that's the fact that Barcelona's midfield were dominant over who is, whether it's Carvajal and Canales and Fekir, a pretty decent Real Betis midfield that Barcelona just had them outclassed today. And 5 is Ghost of the Past. Marc Bartra, he made the game interesting now, didn't he? And he's always one that I think, yeah, you're going to talk about the Gareth Bale goal. It's always going to come up. But I thought he had he was a backup, he had a pretty solid career at Barcelona, and he's a player that I look back on pretty fondly. He did wedge his way through Alves and De Jong to score the goal for Real Betis that probably should have been the equalizer, the one that got Real Betis the point they might have needed. Well, I still think they weren't going to finish top 4, but it looked like it would have brought them a bit closer to a goal. But obviously, we've already talked about it, Jordi Alba was there to put them to the sword. Neto, I thought, deserved some kind of clean sheet, or at least half of a clean sheet, after having a pretty good performance deputizing in for Ter Stegen today. He was smart in his positioning and tidy when he needed to be, but he had no chance on Bartra's header. And aside from the question marks about the front line in the first half, set-piece defending was pretty suspect. That was the major issue. And with the personnel Barca had, you'd think that counterattack should have been the big worry, and they weren't really. And we already said ARAUJO had that covered, but it's a wonder why set-pieces were so miserable today. And I could lament this quite a bit more, but I'm just going to enjoy and celebrate the importance of that 2-1 win. And Barcelona don't have too much time to soak in the good vibes because they're back at it on Tuesday. And before that, we do have a podcast coming out on Monday, so make sure you subscribe, like, do all the things you need to do here on the channel so you don't miss it. And as always, until next time, Forza Barça.